The best opportunities, in my view, are in mid-market private equity in emerging markets, in particular in the case of Brazil. So I strongly believe that this is one of the hot spots of investing worldwide today.
I think for international investors in particular, why do they come to the emerging markets for additional exposure to private equity, particularly when they know their managers and their markets so very, very well? And so this is a real education process when they come across to a place like emerging Asia or to sub-Saharan Africa or some parts of Latin America. However, if you're going to come out and get a diversified portfolio, you're gaining access to non-leveraged, in the main, non-leveraged opportunities which are not available to you in some of the more developed markets. And so I would argue that most institutional investors operating on an international stage are overexposed to leveraged opportunities, and in our markets they gain access to fast growth companies where people are reinvesting the profitability that is coming up all the time. You get a very different risk reward for your investment, and therefore anywhere in our markets where leverage is not a key to making profitability, I think those are opportunities for any institutional investor.
Do you know what? I think it's not a macro question. I think there are opportunities to be found everywhere, and the one lesson that comes over again and again and again in private equity is what really matters is manager selection and deal selection, and you're much better having the best, smartest manager in an unattractive area than a dummy in the most attractive area, because the attractions of individual areas will change from year to year, never mind over the lifetime of a 10-year fund, but hopefully the quality of the manager that you choose, and therefore the quality of the deals you'll be in and the diligence that's done around them, will sustain. So pick your managers. There are opportunities everywhere. Indian assets, expensive now. Are there opportunities in India? Absolutely. You need the right manager.
That's a tough question. Good opportunities are everywhere. I think mostly in frontier markets, because that's where valuations are still attractive, where there's not too much money chasing too few deals. Private equity is actually a great way of accessing growth sectors in these economies, because listed equity is still very undeveloped. Stock markets are typically shallow, non-liquid. So we really believe private equity is a good way of accessing the frontier market opportunity.
I think there's the countries that I just mentioned. They're fantastic opportunities. It's the countries that I mentioned: Brazil, Chile, Colombia, and Peru. You find good opportunities. I think the challenge will be in different countries. For example, Chile is to get introduced and to identify the good opportunities. So there are some challenges probably in identifying the right parties or partners. But in these countries, for Latin America, I think that's where the opportunities are.